I got my own label, I got my own distribution deal. My deal's hooked, and it's not me alone, that's the scene in general.
Music's probably upped its professionalism, or it's sounding a bit more on point as far as quality of production and lyrics and all that sort of stuff.
They're building up their own scenes in their own towns, and certain artists are moving out and venturing from London and collaborating with other artists outside of London, and they can see that working.
We are hip-hop, do you know what I mean? We love hip-hop, love hip-hop, love hip-hop, love hip-hop.
Last time, we looked at the re-emergence of the independence in the hip-hop world and all that it brings. It seems some people are employing the DIY approach from the off, while others have been stung once and now feel that the only way to progress is to do it themselves.
This is DJ Eclipse from Fat Beats, New York City. Also DJ for Nonfiction. Also member of the world-famous Rocksteady crew. Also half of the halftime radio show along with my partner DJ Riz. Wednesday nights, 10:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. on WNYU 89.1. As a group, as Nonfiction, we got together in 95. We had an opportunity, to put out an independent single, and that was the right time to do it because there wasn't as many people out. And then, we were young, we thought, okay, we did a single, it's time to get an album deal now, you know what I'm saying? So let's run and see what we can get. And right after we dropped the single, we were able to go and get a deal with Geffen Records. And we were signed to a major. We were signed to a label that had Large Professor, that had The Roots, that had Jizza. We were happy. We were like, okay, it's our time now. We're going to blow up. We're going to do this. That fell through. We didn't have the same outlook as the A&R. She was more like, okay, you guys need to sound more like this. You guys need to shorten your verses. They're too long. You need to do this, do that. We were like, well, why did you sign us then? So it came to the point where it was like, you know what? It's not working out for neither one of us. Geffen ended up shutting down their urban department and moved most of their acts to MCA at that time. So we were like, we want out. And they were like, cool, So we stepped with what songs we had did. And around that time, that was kind of like when we had recorded 5 Boroughs and 4 W's. Threw that out, and then followed that up with I Shot Reagan and Refused to Lose. Because I worked here, because Ill Bill from the group worked here, we knew, how to do stuff. We knew the scene, we knew how to put records out. So we were like, well, let's continue to do it ourselves. No one's going to stop us from doing it. 7 years after the group was formed, that we were like, we have to get this album out. We were able to grow as a group, realize it wasn't really our time back then. It would have been too soon. Now it might be a little bit, not too late, but overdue. So, we took an opportunity, put the record out on our own label, Uncle Howie Records, and got it out there. We were able to use the money we've made up until now to be able to record the album we really wanted to and work with the producers we really wanted to and put together what we think is a classic album and put it out there for the streets.
Nobody gets a record deal, you gotta take that shit. Treat the record label like a slut and then break that bitch.
That's what it's about to me. It's about making music, that you want to make and that you can be happy with at the end of the day. That you can walk out on the street and look someone else eye to eye and know that you represented yourself to the fullest and that you didn't take no shorts, you didn't half-step when you made the album. You didn't try to tone it down, or you didn't try to sell out, just to do something for the radio or something like that, The fact that, we did all this on our own is more of a pat on the back, and it's more impressive also when bigger labels and bigger distributors look at it because they know it's independent and they're amazed at how much we've done on our own. We've got commercials running on MTV2 and on BET. We just shot the video for Rockstars, which is getting ready to get played. We're getting ready to do the next single. We're going to do an instrumental album. It's like we got so many things aside from the fact that we're all going to be doing solo projects, in the group. We might not have the financial backing as a major label, but we know how the game works because we've been here for so long. And, a lot of us have backgrounds from working at labels, or just working retail. So we know a lot of the tricks of the trade.
So there is life beyond the corporate world.
My name is LP, musician, producer. We want to become men in this world. We want to become adults and have strength. And I never really felt comfortable doing that under the guise of this sort of weird patriarchal role that labels, and business plays in a lot of artists' lives. I'm like, oh, if I mess up, if I make a mistake, I want to be able to learn from it personally. But God help the man who makes the mistake on my behalf,
Nottingham collective Out the Ville have been independent since they started in '93.
If you're with a record label, they can really blind you, because record labels they're very fast people and they're heartless people when it comes to money, because they're business people. So it's like, understand your business, which we do as an independent label, and it's like we just grow and force them, whereas our name gets more credibility. So it's like probably in a year or two, a major label is going to come up to us and say, we don't just want to sign individual artists, we want to sign your whole label. You know what I mean? Then give us power, so then we've got juice to do what we want to do.
Big Dada boss Will Ashton is in no doubt that there are benefits on being on an independent.
The bottom line is, if someone gives you £250,000, then they want to make that back. And if they've given you less than that, then there's less to make back. So there's less commercial pressure, basically. There's less pressure to conform to a particular type. I think it's particularly true of black artists, is that at major labels, they've rarely been treated as artists. They tend to be treated as entertainers, whereas a group like Radiohead are given the time and space to express themselves or whatever. Black artists are expected to have hits, they're treated as pop. So there's obviously less room there for expressing yourself and developing a sound than there is on an independent, I guess.
I am Sam Hunt, that's Mr. SFDB to anyone else.
And I'm Leon, second son.
We didn't want to be tied down to anyone, you know. We wanted to put out our own stuff and be like the rulers of our own domain, as it were, you know. And also perhaps even make some money out of it ourselves one day, you know. Leon in particular has had plenty of experience in the music industry, and you know, I've grown up a lot around it, so we've seen plenty of other people sort of fall short. And I think also when you're relying on someone else to do your work for you, sometimes, you know, at the end of it, if it doesn't happen for you, it can be so disheartening that, you know,
board meetings where people are like designing a new logo and there's some real embarrassing thing, you just like forget it, you know what I mean? You got to go out and put your name to this, and it's just like, when people tell you what your LP cover will look like or how you're supposed to dress and stuff, is ridiculous, because just leave us to it and we'll prove ourselves anyway, you know. It's funny, but at the end of the day, it's a music business. I'm in the business of music. I'm not very interested in the music business, you know. It's two different things.
Eastborn is a leading light in the independent scene north of the border.
The problem is, it's not how I would present myself and how the record label would put me across if I was on a major. It's how other people would look at me. And I want people to always look at me as someone that does well for himself, someone that works hard against any kind of walls that I put up. I will knock down any wall, and I can take knockbacks, and I will come back at you 10 times stronger after that. Do you know what I mean? It's water off a duck's back, and I'm not going to let things get to me. Big major labels, they can push you well, they can put more in, they can put more money behind you, but they can drop you from a higher height. And if you get dropped from a higher height, then you're going to come off, you know, with worse injuries. A small label will want to work better for you, and a small label will want to do as well as they can for you, because they're promoting the label through you. A major label is just promoting you, and the label's always safe. The big label's safe. They've got their nets. They're happy. I think the difference is not the money, it's more how much the label itself, whether it's a major or a small independent, how much they actually care about the artists and where the money fits in between their love for their artists. Bigger labels might not necessarily care, because they'll always have it recouped and they'll be safe. Smaller labels, they've got less money to throw around, so they've got to be more cautious with the money. But as long as you know that with a label, then that's fine. You know, sponsors will come into play instead of, you know, massive money, just an endless pit. You know that they can't afford to do that, and that's fine. But at the end of it, well, what do? Do you put no records out and just hope that a major is going to come along? And then when a major does come along, then they could play and drop you from a high height.
But for some artists in the indie field, the workload is excessive.